Hello and welcome to a Ramen Experiments episode of Nama Japan. Today it's all about soy sauce, or in Japanese, shoyu. If you are like me, you start out with basically no knowledge about soy sauce, other than that this is probably the standard you see everywhere around. Kikkoman is basically everywhere, and they're actually doing a pretty decent job at shoyu. Today I want to show a little bit more, variety. There are so many different soy sauce makers in Japan, and they only have really one thing in common. The base ingredients of soy sauce. These are soybeans, wheat, water, and salt. While they are technically all made in the same way, some of them are more industrially produced, while others are very handcrafted and more akin to like a good brewing process. And I got a couple of different ones here, and I want to show you a little bit through my own testing how they differ from each other and how I could potentially use those in making tare, in making chashu, marinating eggs and chashu. So I'm gonna work my way here from the basic one that probably all of you know to the usukuchi, which is often referred to in tare recipes. And then we have a couple of soy sauces here from a little bit smaller makers that are probably not known abroad. But I thought it was interesting to also give a little bit of spotlight to those makers here, which some of them have a really long history. And I think it's worth taking a look at those. Probably they have a very different flavor profile from what you know from Kikkoman. So let's go and take a look at those. Let's start with what we all know, the Kikkoman Nama Shoyu. So this means it has not been altered after the fermentation and pressing process. So let's give this one a try as kind of a benchmark. Yeah, smell wise, it's exactly what you expect. The good old Kikkoman soy sauce smell. I would say it's rather salty, but it has this distinct soy sauce flavor that you're looking for. I think this is a good basic soy sauce. If you cannot find anything else, this will absolutely do the job. And I know there's a couple of ramen makers that even in their restaurants they're using Kikkoman soy sauce. So this is definitely nothing that you should steer away from or really get out of your way to get something else, because it's not a bad product, definitely not. So next is the Kikkoman Usukuchi. So it literally means like thin or slim mouth, which just means like it's a little bit more of a thinner version, which doesn't mean like it's less salty. So some people think the Usukuchi would be less salty or lighter in a way, but it's actually the opposite. So you have here a lighter color and a lighter flavor, but more salt. And if you're searching for salinity and you don't want to add salt to your shoyu tare, then you add a higher percentage of usukuchi. So let's give this one a try. Yeah, and right away you can see, I'm not sure if you can really see that at all. You can see the color is completely different between the regular soy sauce and the usukuchi. And let's give this one a try. Oh. Yeah, so while you can definitely sip the regular soy sauce, the nama shoyu, the usukuchi, it's like straight up drinking salt water, and like very concentrated salt water. So definitely this is more for cooking purposes, for making sauces and so on. The soy sauce flavor is not very strong, but it's still there. So this would be a good salt replacement with a light soy sauce flavor in the background. Now let's go to the smaller manufacturers. So here we're having Morita. It's a brewer from Shimane prefecture. So it says here Marudaizu nama shoyu, which means whole bean raw soy sauce. So it has not been altered after the pressing process, and let's give this one a try. So actually this one is on the cheaper side, so you can get this bottle here for like 500 yen, which is like $5. It's not terribly expensive for hand manufactured soy sauce. So right away I can tell you it has a much milder smell than the Kikkoman soy sauce. So let's give this one a try. Oh, this is interesting. So while it still goes into the same direction as the Kikkoman one, it's definitely milder and less salty. And there's a more complex aroma, I would say. A little bit of honey notes, I would say, as much as that is possible in a soy sauce. A little bit of nutty aftertaste. I think this could be very good for shoyu tare. It's very aromatic and not too salty. So probably if you mix it up a little bit to get the salinity with the usukuchi, this could make a really good shoyu tare. So now we go to a little bit more fancy one. We have here the Marunaka, which is probably the fanciest packaging, and also this is the most expensive one here on the table. I think this was way above 10 bucks for this bottle. And the special thing about this bottle here is that their soy sauce is aged for 3 years. Not aged, sorry. It ferments for 3 years. So that would explain why it's at least 3 times more expensive than the other bottle here. And I think also the fancy packaging adds a little bit extra on top. So let's take a look what's inside. All right, and inside the bottle looks like this. A little bit less fancy than with the wrapper here, but nonetheless quite interesting, quite nice bottle. So let's give this one a try. I would say compared to the others so far, it looks a little bit darker. And what I've read is that the aging process and the fermenting process gives it a darker color, so this would explain that. So let's give this one a sip. Oh, there's funky stuff going on. So there's a lot of complexity here. So instead of just only the regular soy sauce flavors, I would call it, you have citrusy notes, a hint of yuzu almost, definitely complexity if you play around with it. It hits very different spots, and I think that's something you would expect after such a long fermenting process. Now that is really good stuff. I can absolutely see this being used for a blend of shoyu tare with some others. I think this could almost replace adding a vinegar component, definitely because it has this citrusy, a little bit sour note there. So you could either replace or reduce the amount of vinegar that you use in your tare when you use this one instead. Really good stuff from a brewer that's actually from Shiga prefecture, which is just north of Kyoto, really in the heart of Japan, and definitely a really, really great product. And I think worth its money. All right, now we go to number 5. This is brewer Inoue with their so-called traditional soy sauce. Inoue has been around for over 150 years, and they also make miso, so they're masters in this whole fermentation thing. So let's give this one a try. So color-wise, it's also on the darker side. Doesn't give off a very strong smell. Okay, so this is again more on the salty side. It has a very strong, I would say, soybean-ish flavor. I think that's what they mean when they say traditional method. So this is very much on the more nutty side, a little bit earthy flavor. Definitely though salty, maybe salty enough that you don't need any usukuchi, and it's also very rich. Now taking the second sip, I can feel like it's taking up volume in your mouth. I like this one. This is really, really nice. It has definitely own character. I'm not gonna say that the others don't, but it definitely has like an own character among these, a little bit more punch than maybe the other ones. And now to the last one. So this one is from a maker called Fundodai. is a clear shoyu, and it's actually a new product, so this has not been around forever. And clear shoyu is a kind of a novelty product, I would say, and it's used to make also shoyu ramen that looks like shio ramen because it doesn't really have this dark soy sauce color. So let's go ahead and give this one a try. So I ran out of those small plates here, so I'll use this one. But honestly speaking, there's not much to see. Anyway, it's really clear. It looks like water, to be honest. And ooh, smell-wise though, now there's something going on. It does smell a little bit more like sake than, or nihonshu than soy sauce. Just interesting. Well, cheers. Well, that's completely different from all the others. It has a slight mirin-ish taste to it. So there's a light sweetness to it, a light vinegariness. So I did a little bit of additional research about the ingredients of the clear shoyu, and what I found out is that actually this is not pure shoyu anymore. This is distilled from soy sauce, and then they add actually a couple of things like brewing vinegar, they add more salt, they add some artificial sweeteners, and then it says here partially it still contains soybeans and wheat, but basically this is deconstructed or distilled and then reconstructed soy sauce. So I think this has like a niche usage where you really want to avoid the color or want to surprise people with no visible seasoning at all, and then you do get some certain soy sauce flavor, but I think you really have to experiment a lot with this thing. And now if we sum everything here up, I think I can honestly say that all of these soy sauces here have their use cases. If you can not find anything other than Kikkoman, you will be fine just using this one. If you are living in an area or you have other access to Usukuchi, then you can already make almost all of the available recipes for shoyu tare. But if you're coming to Japan or you have other access to these soy sauces or other soy sauces that are hand manufactured in long processes and so on, then you're not making a mistake to broaden your horizon a little bit and experimenting a little bit with blends. And I think this will be one of my future videos, working out a nice ratio of how to use these in my recipes. I can definitely see some that can just directly replace Kikkoman soy sauce. I can others that I probably need to blend with, for example, some other, or with this one or some other Usukuchi, or to like add some salt, good old salt, to bring the salinity where I want it. And I'll have to like experiment a little bit, and of course I'll share my progress with you. And I think that's all for today. If you like my videos, click like, subscribe, and if you like this kind of video, please let me know in the comments, and I'll try to make more of these kinds of videos. And that's all for today, and I'll see you guys in the next one.